I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And today we're going to be talking about toxic positivity.
Sounds like an oxymoron, doesn't it? Meaning a contradiction in terms.
Margaret, what is toxic positivity?
Oh, you won't like it.
Uh-oh.
Toxic positivity is an obsession with positive thinking.
Okay.
Right? It is the belief that people should put a positive spin on all experiences, even those that are profoundly tragic.
Oh.
Okay? And I think there are some probably modern day Pollyannas out there who tend to do that. I can give you some examples.
Yeah.
And just because we've talked about positivity so much, there's almost always a reaction, to whatever we talk about, to help understand it from a different perspective.
Yeah.
So, toxic positivity is an obsession with positive thinking. It is the belief that people should put a positive spin on all experiences, even those that are profoundly tragic. Toxic positivity can silence negative emotions, demean grief, and make people feel under pressure to pretend to be happy even when they are struggling.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can certainly see there would be plenty of things that would happen in life that there wouldn't be any positivity
Yeah,
behind.
well, there just isn't any.
Yeah, that's really tough to get behind.
Yeah, and it's going to give us a few examples.
Yeah.
In some cases, it may be self-imposed. For example, a person may try to appear happy all the time by presenting everything in a positive light. However, it can also be an external pressure, such as when people tell a person who is grieving to move on and to look for something positive in their loss. And we hear that a lot. Around what?
Breakups.
Move on. We want you to be happy again. Just forget about it and move on. And meanwhile, the person who has just broken up, who may love the ex-partner, is having a terribly difficult time. And almost everybody I talk to says to me that it makes them crazy when friends and family who want them to be happy again just tell them to move on like nothing happened.
No.
And they feel like they're dying.
Yeah. Yep.
So there's one keen example we wanted to be sure we shared with you.
Yep.
All right.
Sometimes you have something so tragic.
Yep.
Somebody gets shot, killed.
Yep.
My mom passed from cancer.
Yeah.
My dad passed from COVID.
Well,
it's hard to find anything positive in that.
Have you counted your blessings lately? Think about what they did for you. Right?
Yeah, it's brutal.
Here are some examples. It's hard to believe them, so that's why I'm going to read them. We need to register it in our brain.
Okay.
Telling a parent whose child has died to be happy that at least they can have children. All right?
Yeah.
You had a child, your child died, but cheer up, at least you know you can have them.
How about never talk to me again?
My friend Debbie Dratch is just completely infertile, and she can't have any more children.
Oh,
which
God.
she just told us at the last dinner party, okay? Asserting after a catastrophe that everything happens for a reason. Now, I've heard that one numerous times. I'm never quite sure how to respond to it. What reason, and who told you that? Okay? I think the idea is that even though this seems terrible right now, later I'll understand that there was some reason in this, and
trying to make a narrative of it.
Right.
Which can be helpful, but...
It can. But not if it's delivered with this amount of saccharin.
Yeah.
All right.
It just seems so extreme.
Yep.
It's almost like being in a denial.
Yeah, it's almost denial.
Yeah.
But again, it would be the difference between Debbie Downer and Pollyanna.
Yeah.
Telling someone to get over their grief or suffering and focus on the good things in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there may come a point where if the grieving goes on too long and the sadness goes on too long, you begin to become concerned about them.
Sure.
Because there are some kinds of grief that are very difficult to resolve.
Yeah.
And you might want to point out to them that they deserve a better life than this and they need to do something for themselves. That would be reasonable. But you can see how offended you would be, can't you?
Yeah. Especially in any kind of extreme situation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Labeling people who always appear positive or who do not share their emotions as being stronger or more likable than others. I will hear often in a conversation when somebody tells me, for example, that they lost, say, a parent when they were a child. And I'll ask, well, how did the other parent handle that? They're really strong. They never acted like anybody happened. Did they ever talk about it? No, they never talked about it again. They just went on and tried to look on the bright side. That's not strong, and that's not healthy.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've heard that numerous times, particularly where the person will say, that they were in this situation with a parent who never registered that they were sad or never gave them any permission to be sad.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to go on and we're going to smile. Devastating around grief. So, and I stop people now saying, not registering emotion is not a mark of strength. Okay? Urging people to thrive no matter what adversity they face, such as by telling people that they must use enforced time at home during the COVID pandemic, to develop new skills or improve their fitness.
Mm-hmm.
You better use this bad time to do something for yourself.
It would be nice if you could, but to have those kind of unrealistic expectations in a challenging time.
Yep. And the last one, which is already one of my least favorites, and I think we talked about it, brushing off someone's concerns by saying, it could be worse.
Yeah.
Or the other one we talked about the other day, saying that there are other people who have it worse, so I have no right to complain. Yes, you do.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Why is it dangerous and risky? A generally positive outlook is not harmful. However, a person who believes that they must only be positive may ignore serious problems or not address underlying mental health issues. I don't feel anything. I only look at the positive and I'm just fine.
Seems like a denial to me.
Right. It makes me think about being Pollyanna's therapist and saying, where is your anger, honey?
Mm-hmm.
Have you thought about what happened to you?
Mm-hmm.
You end up with this aunt over here that I'm afraid of,
Mm-hmm.
and you've never complained at all.
Yeah.
Someday poor Pollyanna will either have an unexplained depression or a psychosomatic illness. That's my take on that.
Let's hope she gets you as a therapist.
Oh God, no, I don't know that I could handle it. And me without my saccharin.
Yeah.
I'm sure the implication is not that the child was saccharine. It was that she was very sweet and tried really hard.
But you have some concerns about positivity.
I do.
More than what we discussed.
Yes, we do. And I hope it's helpful to share them, but I feel obligated to, I mean, certainly my conclusion, like yours, after listening to all this positivity, is it's a good thing. And I think we should use it whenever we can and whenever it's reasonable. But I do have a couple of fears. A couple of fears kind of based in American culture. So what I'm going to tell you is I have never enthusiastically jumped onto the resilience bandwagon. But not because I'm against resilience, I'm all for it. If you have a trauma in your life and you can bounce back, I would love to not see you, okay? If you can be okay and survive a trauma without assistance from me or anybody else, good for you. But I've been a therapist for a really long time, and I've seen a lot of ugliness in this world. And I wonder that if we conclude that anyone can teach themselves to become resilient, okay, that we could end up blaming badly damaged and traumatized people for not being able to do it. Okay? And yes, there are ways we can teach ourselves to be more resilient, but I don't want a situation where traumatized people are blamed. Okay? Which is why I never hopped on that bandwagon. I think the more we study resilience, the better. But it's a tool, not a must. All right? We live in an American society where there is a culture of rugged individualism. And that's a term that comes out of American literature. And for much of American literature, you had stories of people coming to America and hitting it big, and the streets are paved with gold. Mm-hmm. And that's followed up by pioneers and cowboys who went to the frontier and managed to get their own plot of land and whatever, okay? So we think that people should be very self-sufficient and able to help themselves. And they can't always, okay? And we don't want people to feel bad because they need help. And you can recall that, two of the researchers doing the business on positivity said that we need to remember that tight-knit communities and positive role models also help. So we need to remind Americans that it's okay to need help. And I don't want to leave people thinking that they shouldn't.
You just don't want people that are traumatized or grieving or going through a difficult time, even feeling even worse, mm-hmm. because they're not being positive enough, yeah. and that they're putting that blame on them as well.
Absolutely. And I have people just recently who talked about therapists essentially doing that.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. And I'll tell you about one guy. I don't think there's any identifying information about him here. He was a particularly charming guy, very successful professionally. And he called to find out what he was doing wrong, because every time he would get into a relationship, he would be reminded that he wants a lot of attention and affection. And so he was trying to figure out ways to talk himself out of that so that he could have a good relationship where he didn't need that much attention and affection. And Coach Victoria and I both told him it's perfectly okay to want attention and affection, but we're going to have to teach you to find women who are not avoidant. If you're going to be successful.
Which is exactly what I was thinking
right.
when you started to say
exactly. And we both said to him, so have you had therapy? It sounds like you've been worried about this for a really long time. Have you gone to therapy? He said he went to therapy 4 times. And every time they told him that something was stuck in his, now these are his words, and none of us presume to understand all this, that something was stuck in his amygdala that needed to move to another part of his brain, and it was all connected to his tibia. But we knew what he was saying. Okay, that it can somehow be broken down to being terribly technical. You still feel bad because, this part of your brain isn't communicating that well with the other part of your brain. And there may be a time when we know enough about that to make it helpful and to have it help us fix it. Mm-hmm. But for right now, the best we could do was say to him, it's okay, just find a partner who can go along with it.
Yeah.
But he said when he read the book, or the books that they told him to read, he didn't feel any better. And I can understand that. And he was saying things like, I don't know why I can't do it myself. That's what I want to know how to work on, how to be able to do this myself. All right? It's okay. You don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Absolutely.
So those are my somewhat concerns about all this. But, there are different points of view. I am not saying that the concept of positivity and the techniques should be ignored or considered bad or anything. I'm just looking for a balance in the middle.
And you don't want to see people struggling compound it by blaming themselves on top of it.
Absolutely. And the critical inner voice, that has grown up with American individualism, can be saying to you, you should be able to handle this yourself. Strong people don't need anybody. Strong people solve their own problems. Okay?
Yep.
All right, so I just wanted to add that.
All right.
I hope all of this was helpful. My favorite thing from the whole presentation is that Mother Nature and evolution obviously lean toward the optimistic. That makes me happy. And it makes me optimistic.
Oh, that's good. All right.
And give me Debbie Dratch over Pollyanna any day. You can edit that out if you want.
Okay. All right, so if you want to get our help personally, go to my website, askcraig.net, sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. I do email coaching and I do Skype, and of course, Margaret is available for Skype coaching.
Yes, if you think I can be helpful, please sign up.
Just click on Margaret on the top of the website to do that. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And we will talk with you soon. To get my help personally, go to askcraig.net and click on Schedule Coaching and choose the option that works best for you. I do email coaching or Skype. To schedule a coaching with Margaret, click on Margaret on the top of the page and order a Skype with her. For the Knowledge Creative Healing course, click on the link at the top of the page and click Get Started Now.